Well, hello. Welcome to STEM to Stern Cruiseology. Something a little different today. We're not in the global headquarters at STEM to Stern. We're on the SS Cruiseology, coming to you live from the bridge. Now, today, I guess you can say we're going to talk a little bit about something in the news, but it's going to be a single topic. It's kind of intriguing. Uh, it's it come out in several various reports uh, last several days. Imagine a cruise ship, if you will, that's 8 times larger than an Icon class ship. That's big. Uh, a floating city, essentially. Uh, you ever heard of the company called the Freedom International Cruise Lines? Uh, Goggle it or Google it. I mean, um, they have are pitching this concept, this vision for what they call a Mercator class size ship. It's really should be called the Behemoth. Uh, Not sure it's feasible from many different standpoints. And so we're going to kind of run through that and discuss that a little bit. Let's talk about what they've envisioned. Uh, let's just start out with the length of the ship. Uh, it's 5,280 feet. Sounds pretty close to a mile to me. And that might be the actual distance of a mile. The beam on it's 750 foot. Has a draft or a draught of 43 feet. We'll talk more about that later. Uh, Top speed, not real fast, but something that big in the water. I guess for something that big, it might be fast. It's 7 knots, so about 9, 10 miles an hour. uh, Hold up to 80,000 people. Oh, and has some interesting venues on it. It's really broken down like it has education, uh, health facilities, cultural uh, venues, entertainment. Even has a sports stadium that would hold 15,000 people. So this thing is huge. Has several heliports, has a shuttle system that's built in that comes out from the stern. Uh, I've looked at the website. I've looked at the uh, conceptual images and drawings they have, and it's quite impressive. But there's a lot of questions, and one, uh, you know, uh, well, first let's back up a little bit. 80,000 people. They're envisioning that 50,000 of those will be permanent residents, so you can buy residencies on this ship. So and that's not there's been other companies that come out with that model, but not on this scale. 20,000 crew members, and then 10,000 would be transient guests that would come on, go off, come on, go off, uh, as it made its way around the world. Um, so interesting concept, very intriguing, but I don't know. It's going to have schools, hospitals, hotels, shopping centers. I already mentioned the 15,000 person sports complex or stadium, water parks, uh, and maybe potentially powered nuclear powered propulsion. Uh, Again, intriguing. Well, all right, let's ask this question. Could it float? I think, yeah, we can probably build a system of hulls together where it's going to float. I don't think that's a problem. So talk about technological feasibility. Um, so it'd be probably they've already used modular systems to construct chips. This might be a little different. Uh, a 1 mile long structure, the especially if you got into heavy seas, how's that how's that going to work? We're going to come up with some technology that allows for a lot of flexing in that hull, uh, especially with heavy seas and naval architects. All the forces that go on to a hull, well, that's going to be exponential in this case, and they're going to have to deal with what they call hogging, sagging, and torsional twisting. So that's something that they're going to have to come up with in a challenge to make sure of its seaworthiness. So propulsion, uh, talked about it could be nuclear powered. It has some advantages on that. A lot of distance, endurance, uh, reduced fuel logistics, stable electrical generation from that. So there's benefits, but you know, how are they going to deal with uh, maybe international regulatory uh, approvals, public perception? You know, people are going to argue that it's not safe. So nuclear security and such. So that's a whole nother issue. Then you have you know it's going to go circumnavigate the Earth, and I don't know, I can't remember the time frame, but it's not it's the draft on it's 43 feet, pretty deep. There's not ports are going to plus just the length and size. There's no peering system that's going to support it. And then you I get into water depth and other challenges. However, so what they envision is they're going to use tender boats, ferries, helicopters, and some rooftop operations, aircraft operations. So that's what they're getting at. Could this could this end up being a seaworthy uh, platform? Uh, I think there's all sorts of, and I don't understand it all. I'm not an engineer, but they're going to have to deal with all the previously mentioned hogging, sagging, torsional issues that go on, wave loading, uh, all that physical or physics they're going to have to come up with in order to make this a seaworthy vessel. And then what if you did have an emergency at sea? How are you going to deal with 80,000 people? If it's worst case scenario, capsizes, sinking, or if there's a fire, another worst case scenario is, what's the worst thing you have on a vessel? A fire, besides a leak. Medical emergency or not necessarily a medical emergency, but those are, if it's single, then those are easy to evacuate. Um, but a hurricane, which I don't think they would try to sell that through a hurricane. Surely not, but I hope they get video if they do. So that's, there's all sorts of challenges that's going on with this project. Uh, the website I looked at for them, of course, they're pitching this to investors, people who would invest um, millions of dollars, or actually billions. It's going to have to be billions. And if I remember right, I think the cost was some 16 billion. You got to break the old piggy bank. So that's a lot. But I think from what I researched is what most people agree would be probably the thing that's going to get them is the financial feasibility of such a project. Um, and there's debate on if that number's low. It probably could go higher. Uh, According to some naval architects, uh, an operating cost, you know. So investors, they're going to have. I'm not sure, since it's never been done, that a lot of investors are going to be willing to put that money out there. Now they may, but like I said, is it feasible? Um, so I think the financially is probably going to be the big hurdle, along with some of the engineering uh, challenges that they may have. So I think this thing is a long way from ever coming to fruition. Um, fun to ponder and talk about. So, my comments. What do you think? What do you think about a project of this magnitude, this scale, challenges that they face? Is it something that could actually become a reality? I'm very skeptical. I don't think so. Uh, I think technologically wise, there's probably some things they could do to get it there. And I think the biggest hurdle would be getting the financial backing to do it. Now, that doesn't mean it can't happen. Might. So what do you think? What do you think about a ship that's 8 times larger than a Icon class ship? 80,000 people. So comment. Let me know what you think. I'd like to hear some feedback. What you think about this? So I'm going to leave it at that. I've got to get this ship turned around. Uh, it's hard operating this thing by yourself, but I managed to do it. Um, so thank you for watching. If you would, hit that subscribe button and then go over there and kick that subscription button. Subscribe. Um, anyway, ponder what we just talked about. I think it's kind of a fun topic, kind of out there, kind of a going to Mars type deal. Anyway, thank you. Have a good day. Fair winds and falling seas. Later, Kruiseology.